What happens when a black widow meets a Venus flytrap? Ever wondered what might happen if a deadly black widow spider walked straight into the jaws of a Venus flytrap? Would the trap snap shut and devour it completely? Could the spider possibly fight back using its venom and escape? Well, today I'm putting that to the test along with a bunch of other insects to find out just how powerful Venus flytraps really are. First off, I needed to get my hands on a few flytraps, so I searched online and came across a site offering two options, a budget-friendly 10 Venus flytrap bundle and a high-end 101. Perfect. I grabbed both. This way, I could compare the cheap versus the premium traps and see which ones are more effective at catching bugs. A few days later, the packages arrived. I unboxed them and separated the two. Surprisingly, the 10-pack gave me quite a few healthy-looking traps. They were bright green with reddish insides, pretty classic. But the 100 ones were in a different league. They came surrounded by moss, looking much more natural. And check this out, they were deep red, almost like apples. I've never seen anything like it. Still, the real test was whether either could take on a black widow. Before jumping into the black widow battle, I started with something simple, a fly. Thankfully, I had a container full of them, though most were probably dead. A few were buzzing around. I set up the 10 traps inside a testing chamber and dropped in a fly, setting a timer for 30 minutes. If it got caught early, I'd toss in more. Right away, the fly took off, zipping around the glass enclosure. Eventually, realizing escape was impossible, it landed near the traps. Venus flytraps attract prey using nectar on the lips of their traps, but maybe because these were the cheaper ones, there wasn't much nectar because the fly didn't even bother walking into any jaws. Most of the timer ticked down with the fly just clinging to the glass, but near the end, it ventured closer. It actually stepped on a trap, but just before it could snap shut, the fly darted away. These plants are sensitive to touch and only close when two of the tiny hairs inside are triggered. Sadly, that didn't happen here. The cheap trap failed its mission. Now it was time to test the premium traps. I released a new fly and started the clock again. This one was wild, buzzing all over, crashing into the glass. After a few chaotic minutes, it started to tire out and finally noticed the traps. Unlike the cheaper ones, these red traps had powerful, sweet nectar, and the fly was clearly drawn to it. It stepped into a trap and narrowly escaped the first time, but not for long. A minute later, it returned. This time, it stuck its head right inside the nectar-rich lip and boom, the jaws snapped shut, perfectly trapping it. You see, Venus flytraps have 3 trigger hairs. Touch 2 of them within 20 seconds, and it's game over.
Over the next 20 minutes, you could still see the fly twitching, but eventually, the plant will release digestive enzymes to dissolve the insect. It took only 5 minutes to catch the fly, an easy win for the premium trap. Moving on, I introduced crickets to the test. Since they can't fly or climb glass, they're easier to trap. I dropped one into the cheap enclosure and set the timer again. At first, the cricket tried walking along the edge of the container, looking for an escape. But after about 5 minutes, it approached the traps. Crickets are big nectar fans, and it started sniffing around the outer edge of one. Then it actually stepped inside. But instead of snapping shut, the trap just sat there. After nearly half a minute, the cricket walked out, and then the trap finally closed. Way too slow. At the 15-minute mark, I added 3 more crickets for some extra action. They scurried around, and one of them climbed inside a trap. This time, the jaws shut on him mid-turn, leaving half his body hanging out. I set up a time-lapse to watch it try to escape. Meanwhile, another cricket stepped into a different trap and got partially caught too. That one managed to free itself using nearby dirt, but the first one had no such luck. With no surface to grab onto, he was stuck. Timer done so. I called this one a half success for the cheap plants.
Now for the expensive ones, I dropped a cricket in and it was like he was drawn by a magnet. Within seconds, he was walking straight into danger. He weaved through the traps, teasing fate until finally stepping into one. At first, he avoided the trigger hairs and got a sip of nectar, but as soon as he moved again, snap, the trap nailed him with a perfect close. Only 7 minutes in, and the premium trap had scored again. Another win for expensive, definitely more exciting to watch too. I'd rate this round a solid 6 out of 10 for entertainment value. Here's where things get real. I spotted a black widow near my place, not common here, so I ordered some online, and sure enough, they arrived the next day. Creepy little things, shiny black bulbous abdomens, and the infamous red hourglass marking. Did you know their venom is 15 times stronger than a rattlesnake's? Yeah, I didn't either until one of them ran straight at me. It slipped out of the container, rappelled down the table, and skittered across the floor. Luckily, I managed to scoop it into a box. Time to test it. First, I placed one inside the cheap trap setup and set the timer. The black widow crept toward the traps. Unlike crickets, she moved slowly and carefully, avoiding the danger zones. She walked around for a while, even started spinning some silk, but then disaster. One wrong step, and the trap snapped shut around her. A few legs were left sticking out, twitching, but it was over. The fly trap had won. As soon as I dropped the black widow in, she strolled right up to a trap. Within 30 seconds, boom, it caught her mid-step, legs twitching, another win for the fly trap. So, if you were wondering, yes, Venus flytraps can absolutely take down a black widow. Thanks for watching. You can check out another crazy video by clicking over there, and see you next time.